Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan J. Reinhardt here from Wargames Recon, coming at you with another pandemic coffee break. Today is Friday, June 5, 2020, and I am one of those lucky few who've been able to work from home. And just like when I'm at work, I'm taking my coffee break. So I'm spending my coffee break with you. I have my beverage right here. I'm still drinking it from yesterday. These last me quite a while, but I hope you have your favorite beverage with you as well. It's good stuff. And if you're watching us and if you're joining us here, please leave a comment to let us know that you are here. Feel free to interact with whatever happens today on the show. And we're just grateful that you're here and we're here with you. So today I actually want to start off with some news that isn't so good, really. Understandable though. So let's do a screen share as one does. And it's from GHQ rather. Why am I saying K? That's crazy pants. And so right here, GHQ is saying, we're just going to zoom in a little for all of you. They released this update actually yesterday. And it says that, quote, as you may know, our factory is in the uptown area of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I did not know that. It is one of the area's hardest hit by riots and looting. Many of the things that you may have seen on TV are within blocks of our factory in Uptown. Many businesses around us have had very serious damage. Some have even been completely burned down. We have gone in and checked on things every morning throughout the last week. Fortunately, our building has not been hit hard and has only got some graffiti. We boarded the building last week and took out as many of our vital things as possible in the short amount of time. We've taken steps to assure our employees' safety and the safekeeping of the business. For this reason, we have not been operational for a week, and you will not be able to start putting, and will not be able to start putting things back until next week. We ask for your patience and understanding. We plan to get back to business as soon as we can. Thank you, GHQ. So this is just kind of goes by way to say that if you had intended to order anything from GHQ, they can't produce stuff right now because it's not safe for them to be there. And I'm sure we all understand about that, and that they are not there, and they're trying to put the safety of the employees and themselves first before the business, and that when they can, they will be able to go ahead and start getting more stuff out to you. And in case you haven't done any business with them, I want to show you their website so you can take a peek at some of the stuff that you can get. So they do a variety of scales here. You can see they do N scale models, hose scale, and military models. They have a promotion going on with the History Channel right now. These are some of the things they do. They're most known, I think, for micro armor. That's what I always think of them about. But if you click on, let's say, military models, for example, you can see they have all sorts of stuff here. And this is very much an old school website. I mean, look at this. But there's a gazillion things here that you can do, and you can look at, and you can check out the catalog over here on the left. And they have just all sorts of stuff here. So if you want a micro armor, I don't know, World War II unpainted, you just work your way through, and let's see the Japanese stuff. And so they have a bunch of things here. Let's look at this medium truck. And so then you can get through and go and find everything. And as you can see, they say they are in the process of completing their new website, that the old current website was taken down before they could get the new one finished. And they're using this old one without e-commerce functionality, but you can give them a phone call to place an order. And they tell you how much it's going to cost, how many you get per pack, and all that kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. So if you want to get GHQ stuff, you can do that. They still are taking orders, but they cannot fulfill them as of yet, which seems to be a common trend here with gaming companies. Not usually because of rioting, though, mostly because of the pandemic. And I should say there is some good news. And let's go and do another screen share here so I can share this exactly with all of you. So this came in the newsletter from the Hobby Bunker here, and we're going to zoom in a little for all of you. And it says here that as of, well, they're going to have new limited hours for walk-ins, and they are going to be opening, I think it's June 10th that they said. Here we go. Until June 10th, they'll be able to do people coming into the store And as I say here, the store is going to look a little different. It's going to be more consolidated, more space, less clutter. Some items removed until they are fully functional and operational. Flea market's going to be closed, and then the gaming area will be opened up shortly, and they'll limit the amount of players there. Now, I know a lot of different game stores have started getting restockings of materials. I've heard that Games Workshop has been sending out stuff, so some New England game stores have been getting shipments of things from Warlord, shipments from things from Games Workshop, paints and all that kind of stuff. So people should be able to start getting that kind of stuff soon. And that's some pretty cool news that you can have there as well. And then I thought I'd like to transition for a moment. And actually, let's take a peek at the comments to see who's here. So, good morning from Virginia, from Dave. Thank you for joining us. And Court says, already made it. Thank you for joining us. And I guess in response to my comments about GHQ, Court says it is an old school company. Yes, I know they've been around for a very, 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 very long time, and it's nice to know that they are finally updating their website, which is a good thing to have. And let's see, David says most of my modern armies use GHQ models, and I know a lot of people tend to do that. Like for Cold War Commander, for example, for very modern, I guess, or maybe not very anymore, but they like to use GHQ stuff or that scale of micro armor kind of stuff for things. And I know that Tim Kask, who worked for TSR Games and helped with all the early days of Dungeons and Dragons, had a huge micro armor collection, and he donated it to a museum. And so they have all this stuff on display at this museum, and it's supposed to be gorgeous. And I've not seen it, but I know his stuff was wonderful, just really fantastic. So it's nice that they could find a home for that. And I'm talking tons and tons and tons of stuff. Why don't we take a moment, because I want to show you a video clip here. And this is a YouTube channel that I absolutely love. It's the Tested YouTube channel that has Adam Savage, formerly of Mythbusters, on it. And in this one of the members of the team, Norm here, is going to be making a riser for his cutting mat. And so he's showing off here. He's using an Alvin cutting mat, a smaller size. And that's actually, let me redo this because I don't think you're going to get sound. Sorry about that. Let's redo this again. I'm just so used to clicking on stuff. We're going to share the sound with all of you so you can actually hear. But he's going to talk for a moment about why he likes the size. And let's just listen.
A ton of different sizes. I personally like this size, 8.5 by 11. Fits on this desk, not expensive at all. And I can use this for whether as a grid just for piecing together some Gundam, some Star Wars Bandai, doing tiny papercraft projects, or use it as a base to do some weathering, right? But one thing that I found.
I want to pause here and just to say that in a moment, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, in a moment, I'm going to show you a link to what I actually use for my cutting mat. And I use a much bigger one because I have this Alvin mat and I decided it was way too small for all the work that I do. So I'm going to end up showing you a bigger one. But let's just go back to the video for a sec so you can take a peek and see some more what he's doing here.
Because I'm working on a small space and I need to move around and not all my projects get completed in one session, I find that I'm unhappy with the sturdiness of this. Like, this is rigid and I can hold things on it, but it's also not the most stable platform for keeping things together and setting things aside. So one idea I had was to make kind of a stand or a riser for this size of cutting mat. And recently we published a one-day build where Adam made and assembled a die filer. And I really was liked and was taken with the stand that he built for his die filer. It's actually an awesome build. Adam makes a couple funny mistakes in building a jig to piece together that stand, but I have access to a laser cutter, and so I booted up Adobe Illustrator and then designed this guy. So this is a riser slash stand, and I was experimenting with the Glowforge thick material, so it's about 0.2 inches, and it's very much inspired.
So obviously most of us don't have a laser cutter, but I think this is the kind of thing that one could reach out to a company like, I don't know, Things in the Basement, for example, and ask them to make such a thing for us. And I'm actually kind of curious how many of you might have experienced that sort of thing where you have used a cutting mat and you're trying to lift and move stuff around and you can't fit it all on here. So I don't know if any of you have encountered this, but I think this is a really neat way to kind of go about it and to kind of deal with it. So he just kind of goes on, and I'm just going to try to find this picture here. You can see this is what it looks like all done there. But he goes on and he makes this thing, and it's pretty awesome. So I think it's a really neat idea for something that you can do. And like I said, not many of us have laser cutters around where we can do such things, but I'm sure you could find other ways to do it, to make it handy, and to get it to be useful in that way. So I don't know. I've never thought of getting such a thing and using it, but I like it. And now for my size, it wouldn't work. So let me show you what I have. So I'm gonna actually drop an Amazon affiliate link into the comments here. So this is what I use. I like the size, and I'm gonna share my screen so you can actually see it on here as well. So I went looking for an Alvin one, but Alvin doesn't make them in the size that I wanted. So I have a 24 by 36 inch one. And honestly, I think I need bigger too. So I have this. It's a beautiful mat, and I don't remember what I paid for when I got it, but it's $31 and change on Amazon. You could probably get it from your local art and craft supply store. But you can see it. Look at this. It's a self-healing mat. 5 layers here. It's huge. Nice grid on it. It's the grid is on one side, and on the other side is just plain black. But this grid you can use for all sorts of stuff. Nice lines on it. Good for measuring. And then over here, you can see here the thickness of it. It feels really solid and durable. It does have metric and standard, and look, angles, which is really cool. And then they have a whole thing here about durability and how it's constructed and all that kind of stuff. And then they have a little video, which I'm not going to make you watch. But it's a great mat. I would highly, highly recommend the mat as well. And I think it's a useful thing to do. Let's see, we have some comments here. So let's see. David, good morning. David says, I use coffee breaks at my desk to do hobby work. After the break, it's tough to clear the desk again. So it sounds like something like this could be useful for you. And then Dale chimes in here. Good morning, Dale. Says, I use translucent plastic cutting mats for food prep. I print out the painting specs for the figures I'm working on and place it under the mats. That way I always have my color scheme on hand. Now that's really smart. And you could probably double that up with something like this. So you could have the frame, if you wanted the frame, have your cutting mat on there. Or use the plastic cutting mat that you have here. And if you didn't have a plastic cutting mat, you could probably just use this and have some sort of like a dry erase board, one of those transparent ones, and use that as well. But I love that, a plastic cutting mat. That's a really cool idea to go ahead and use. And I don't think I've seen those online. I definitely haven't seen a lot of people use them, but I love that idea. So many different ways to tackle this problem and to really kind of deal with it and find what solution works best for you. So that's really snazzy right there. Now I'm going to take a moment here, and I've been doing them at the end, and I'm told that I should do them in the middle. That I I should treat it like the way radio treats advertising. So I'm going to promote what we do here at Wargame Recon, because this will help keep us on the air. Because the coffee breaks are not sponsored at all. We're sponsoring them, I guess. So let's take a moment to remind you that you can buy merch here from Wargaming Recon. You head on over to wargamingrecon.bigcartel.com. I'll pop this into the comments here, so you can buy merch. Buy merch. And we have a bunch of different types of merch here that you can get. Let's go nice and big for all of you so you can see it better. So we have these duffel bags. These are brand new, $20. They are very spacious. They have a nice zippered pouch so you can put things like some money or ID in it. It's cotton canvas, has 30 liters worth of space in it. You can fit all sorts of stuff, books, dice, whatever. We ship them to the US, Netherlands, Norway, and the UK. So it's $20 plus shipping. Has a nice shoulder strap on it, or you can carry it by the handle. And I was literally miming carrying it by the handle, even though I'm full screen and you can't see me miming carrying it by the handle. But I am just, I don't know. That's what I do. And then these men's black polos, sizes small to 5XL, are also brand new. $30, 50/50 cotton polyester blend, ships to the US, Netherlands, Norway, and UK. And then, of course, you know that we have our standard men's black or / unisex t-shirt, sizes small to 3XL for $15, starting at $15. And the women's as well, sizes small to 2XL, starting at $19. And those two ship anywhere in the world. If you are in a part of the world to which we do not currently ship, please, 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 please contact me, Jonathan at wargamingrecon.com. I know there are members of the audience who live in Canada, who live in France, and Australia, and other parts of Europe, Ireland, or whatever. And we want to get in touch with you and try to find ways to get shipping to you so that it's affordable and that you can get stuff here as well. And we are really trying to force most of our merch through our storefront here. And the more that we do that, and the more that it's useful for all of you to shop that way, the quicker you get your stuff, but then two, then the more stuff we can put into it. So right now, we're not putting a whole lot of money into the storefront itself because until it pays for itself, it doesn't make any sense to do it. But we're doing that. And so there are things that are not on there that you can get that we're working on and that we've had in the past. So like, I don't have any in front of me, but we used to do wooden custom D6 with our logo on it. That's something that we can still do if people like. And then we used to also offer bumper stickers as well. So that's another thing that we can do. And people have asked for regular stickers, and we're working on the regular sticker kind of thing. But only so much will go on the storefront at any given time for now. And that other stuff will kind of be on the back burner. So let's take a peek. We get some more comments here in the comments. Court says, like Dale's method, no translucent. My table is ugly. Everyone's table is ugly. Yours is just well used, Court. That's what it is. And then Jamie, good morning. Jamie says, I use the lids of storage boxes as hobby trays. The edges mean they keep everything safely contained as I move them around. That's a very smart idea right there. Good thinking. So I want to show you something that I just got my hands on, and you guys and ladies may have already seen this. So this is the Wargames Illustrated How-To. It's Volume 2. And so they tackle, as I'm muffled hiding behind this, you cannot hear me because I'm pretending to be Darth Vader. As they tackle a lot of stuff in here. And there's some really cool stuff in it. And some things that maybe might not be for everyone. But I like that they use this, as I go completely blank, as they use this cork stuff here to kind of work on things. But one thing about this is it tells you to go to their website in order to go ahead and get plans, because they have like plans for all sorts of stuff. And it's hard to find the plans. So I want to show you how you can find these plans. And then we're also going to shift to another part of their website for another thing that I want to show off to all of you. So here is a Wargames Illustrated website, and their website makes it really easy if you want to subscribe to stuff or find some latest information, like what's going on with the pandemic in them. But if you want to go ahead and get the plans from this Wargames Illustrated how-to guide to modeling #2, it's hard. So using my library skills, I went into the search box and I typed plans. I'm sure any of you might have thought of doing the same. You press enter, you can click on the little magnifying glass, and you wait. And eventually, it'll bring you to search results. And so as you scroll down, you see they have all sorts of things with plans in it. But then right here is the one I wanted. So I clicked on the title, and you can see right here, you can buy it. This is print 1.99 pounds if you want. And then in the description, and it's easy to miss if you just kind of go through, but it says you can get the download plans to go along with this issue here. So if you click on here, you can see we get this whole thing right here where all the plans are, and the ones for volume 1 are here, volume 2, which is what we want, are here, and volume 3 as well. So we're going to click on volume 2, and then it is a zip file that then opens up on your computer. So it's not like a PDF or anything like that you're going to go ahead and see on the web, but it's a zip file that contains all the plans, so that way you can get them onto your computer and access them. And the plans are also there, like I said, for volume 1 and volume 2. To save you all the time of clicking through everything, I'm putting the link in the comments. So that way you can get and save that link if you so choose, so you can get all your own things going on there as well. And now I said that I wanted to share another thing from their website that I found really of interest, and it's something that's been tackled before, to be honest, and it's how to take decent photos of your miniatures. And I know everyone under the sun has an opinion on this. And do you need a light box? And what kind of lighting do you need? And what kind of camera or device do you use? How close? What kind of editing software? And on and on and on and on. And honestly, I could probably do an entire podcast episode about this. I really probably could. Henry Hyde does a really good job of tackling this in the Wargaming Compendium. There's a whole section in there about it. But I thought this one, I would like to show you what Wargames Illustrated is doing, because their whole magazine is about the great pictures, right? And that's really a lot of the content that they like to focus on. And so I want to go ahead and show you what they do. And you might be interested to know that more and more they are using a smartphone. And in particular, the editor, Dan, is using the same kind of phone I am, which is an Apple iPhone XR. And there's the newer, 11s now, 11 Pros and 11 Pro Max, whatever they call them, and all those Android devices and stuff. But he doesn't focus on the device. He focuses on the technique, which I think is really important. And he also chooses to narrow his topic down to 2 types of photos. Ones of individual miniatures and ones of groups or small groups of miniatures. So his entire kit, other than his smartphone, and I would strongly recommend that it is a smartphone that you use, not any other type of phone, because even though other phones might have cameras in them, smartphone's going to be decent. And it should be new-ish within the last 2 to 3 years that it's been released. And if it's older, you'll still be okay. Like I was using a 6S, a 7S before this? 6S, I think. And I was able to take decent photos. But all he's using is a stack. As you can see here, it's a whole stack of books and then white paper. So they use A4 in England, but you're still at 8.5 by 11 for the US. And he uses the books to prop up the paper. You can see over here on the right, he has some nice natural sunlight coming in. Lighting's important. He does recommend that if you don't have like a window right in front, have central light from somewhere in the room. You don't want light just on one side and not on the other, because then you get some shadowing going on. And so you don't have to bring in extra light if you don't need to, but he's just putting it on a desk. And I thought that was really neat that he's doing that. And then to help stabilize the paper, he has just a stapler and a calculator right here. So it doesn't go slipping around or anything. He has a nice little fold in it. So he's basically creating what a lot of photographers use with the green screen, or if they have like white fabric for like all those fancy shots in fashion magazines. And then he takes a picture. So as he goes through here, you can see this is what it looks like from his camera, from a picture he took. He says, don't ever, ever, no, ever, not ever, ever use flash. That's true. I would agree with that. Flash, you might think it's going to work, but it can actually ruin stuff. He says set your smartphone down on the table because you're going to get extra stability. You might otherwise have shakes you don't know about. I would say you could even use a tripod if you had one, but he's really going simple here. And then this is a nice thing that he suggests, distance. So some people don't know how close to get. So he's saying 3.5 inches away or 10 centimeters. You don't want to get too close because things might get a little wonky and it can always get cropped in later on. And you don't want to be too far away either. And you can see right here is a picture of him having his phone right on the table. And then he's talking about which angles to go and do and how you can change it either for landscape or portrait mode. And here's an important one. When you are in your photo app, you want to make sure you tap on the screen onto the figures, which he's doing here. So this is forcing the camera to focus on the model, the single model. And then you can do a little bit of editing. So Apple and the camera app allows you to do things with brilliance and vibrance. You can also use their filters and all that kind of stuff. So you can choose to do whatever to kind of get what sort of image that you think is good. And you can add extra backdrops. You can just print these out on paper and use them. And then after you do these things, they're perfect. You can put them on your blog, put them on your website. They are doing stuff like this for their magazine, which is pretty awesome. You can put them on an internet forum. And then if you're going to do a small unit here, he's showing some ancient Romans on a sandy 2x2 tile. And so this has already been done. And you can see here he has the rocks that it's going to go on. And he has it there for a little bit of backdrop. And then he's just kind of dressing the scene here, adding some, extra stuff so it doesn't look so bland. And the same thing with lighting and the distance and all that kind of stuff. For this, he recommends 8 inches away. And now this is a tricky part, right? This is something I used to struggle with, and maybe some of you do as well. When you have a small unit, when you have a group of miniatures, to where should the focus go? So this picture on the left, you can actually see the focus is right on the middle group of models. And it's okay, but nothing stands out, right? Although the camera's focus is there, your focus is not. And Henry Hyde actually talks about when you use your smartphones or the cameras, they have a grid, right, that looks like a tic-tac-toe square, and that whatever your focus is should be on the middle square. Now, Wargames Illustrated is actually saying that they prefer, and I agree with them, I like this better, to have the focus be on the nearest group of miniatures. And there's 2 ways to go. You could do it where it's a central group, which is the one you saw on the left, or the nearest, which is the one on the right. And I think the nearest one looks best. But you can do whatever you like. And again, you can go ahead and use any sort of stuff in your smartphone's editing options for photos. And these were just all taken with the smartphone. And I think they're gorgeous. Just absolutely beautiful. So this is a guide I think you might all want to take a peek at. And I'm going to drop the link here in the comments so you can all get access to that as well. And let's see, we have some more comments here. So Court says, Cork, Caputo loves that stuff. And I know a lot of people do. A lot of people like to use it for scenic bases. And I've never worked with cork, to be honest, other than taking it out of a champagne bottle or a wine bottle. Only when you're of appropriate age and we're legal and drink responsibly. But people love it and swear by it. So it's a thing you could do. I'm worried about it, though, because I guess maybe it's no different than MDF, but I worry about like how absorbent it is gonna be for stuff, how much paint it'll take, how durable it's gonna be. Is it gonna flake off? I don't know, but maybe it's easy to work with, and the cost, maybe that all makes it worthwhile. Let's see. Jamie says, I 100% support this method. Talking about taking pictures. Phone cameras have come such a long way now. I do the same, but with a great background, as I think it looks nice. Having the phone stable is the most important issue. I agree. And that's why, and I don't have it handy, but with my phone, one thing I often do is I have one of those little Bluetooth, they almost look like a, a remote start or a thing to unlock your car, but it allows you to take pictures. So you sync it with your device, you set your device up, and then you just press the thing. So that way you pressing on your phone doesn't jiggle it at all. And that's also why, is it right here? No, it's on the table. But that's also why, like, I have the tripod that I talked about before, using some Kickstarter money for. Getting this tripod is really important for vlogging and stuff, but it gives a nice stable platform, and I can get whatever angles and stuff, so I can really get nice and low and do things. And it's a neat thing to do. I take almost all the photos that I take on my game table. Same kind of thing. So I do use a little extra lighting, but I do that. I have my cigar box battle mat on there, and then I'll put some other stuff on for terrain and things like that. Try to go. But then, like it says in the article, I don't zoom in on the thing. I crop to really kind of get. So like one photo could actually give me 2 or 3 end result photos for different focuses. So it's just a neat thing to do. Well, anyway, thank you all for joining me today for the pandemic coffee break. We are planning to be back on Tuesday. I'm not promising, but we're planning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and have that going on. I hope you all have a great weekend and that you get to enjoy any nice weather that you might be having. Please, 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 please remember that you can't trust Karen on Facebook. Don't listen to her. She tells lies. She's wrong. Do not trust Karen on Facebook. But you can go ahead and trust that we have new merch at wargamerecon.com, wargamerecon.bigcartel.com. So you can go ahead and get our cool new merch there. Duffel bags, polo shirts, and then, of course, our classic t-shirts for unisex men and women as well. So whichever genders you feel the most applicable to you, we have a shirt for that. So you can go ahead and do that as well. And actually, it's Pride Month. So if you or anyone you know happens to be a member of the LGBTQIAO plus community, I think I got all the letters in there. And if I did not mess it up, I do apologize. But if you're part of that spectrum, we support you. And really just get out and game. Game with your friends, game at home. I talked yesterday about gaming with my buddy Jamie in Norway via FaceTime and how much fun that was, because we love Cube or Death. You can find ways to game and still adhere to quarantine and the pandemic and social distancing, and you can do all of it. So it's okay. And Karen is wrong. No, you can't speak to my manager. I want to speak to your manager, Karen, because you're full of it. Sit down, shut up, Karen. Not having any of your sass. So listen to the experts, the scientists, the doctors, medical professionals, anyone who knows what they're talking about, the real professionals, whether it's about the pandemic or anything. Listen to them. Remember, good enough is good. We will get through this. It shall pass. And let's just try to love one another, love ourselves, and be there for each other. Let's be supportive and understanding. And remember, what would Mr. Rogers do, right? Like yesterday's conversation. So thank you, everyone. And as always, you know the drill. No matter how busy you are, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how much you want to tell Karen to sit down and tell her go away and go practice some color acupuncture, look it up. You know that you need to, you have to keep on gaming. Thanks, everyone. Be well, and see you.